Hi there, tax accountants. I hope all is well, and I pray that as you're viewing this video, that you're in the best of health and spirit. This video will provide you with the initial walkthrough of how to utilize ProConnect. ProConnect is a professional tax software, so I want you to realize that this is not just another project, but this is an opportunity for you to utilize professional software. This is something that you can include on your resume as well as in your cover letter. So let's jump right in. The first document that you will need is the Intuit Student Registration Guide. So this document essentially walks you through creating a ProConnect account. So as mentioned, this is a professional tax software where you need to pay thousands of dollars for. However, as a student, by utilizing this link, you get access to essentially a trial version. You can't actually electronically file any of the tax returns. But again, the key thing is you get that experience utilizing this professional site. So here he states students will follow the link on the bind and card from the book. Obviously, you guys have an ebook, so you're going to just click on this hyperlink. If you select shift and click on the link, or control rather, and click on the link, it'll directly take you to it. I already have an account, so I'm going to be logging in. But for those of you that don't have an account, I'll just go back so that way you can actually see what that looks like. When you don't have an account, it's actually going to ask you, just to create an account, just as though, pretty much you've never used ProConnect. So instead of signing in, as I did, at the very bottom, it says new to Intuit. You're going to select create an account. You are going to use your college address. You're going to create a password. And then you are going to input your telephone number. So that way, in the event that, let's say, you need to recover your password or change your password, you'll input your phone number. If you already have an account using your college email, feel free to do so. But again, in the event that you don't already have an account, then you'll go to the very bottom where you select create an account. So since I have one, I'm just going to log in. All right. And then should you have any questions, this is essentially a reference guide. So, this is the first thing you do. You click on a link, you will create a new account. You'll enter your email address. And then from here, you'll enter the rest of the information, your phone number, password. It'll ask you for your preparer information. So you'll input your first name, last name, your phone number in regard to your firm name. You can, if you aspire to start your own tax practice one day, input your name, be creative, right? Or if you have no desire to do so, then just put your own name, whatever you feel free or whatever you feel led to do, feel free to input for the firm name. In the event that you have any issues creating your account, this is an email address that you can use, taxeducation_support@intuit.com. And please keep in mind, in order to utilize the tax software, there are necessary versions of web browsers that you will need. You'll need Google Chrome version 60 or higher, Mozilla Firefox version 50 or higher, Microsoft Internet Explorer version 12 or higher, or Microsoft Edge version 49 or higher. So in the event that you are trying to access the software and it is not working, it is very likely that you are using an outdated web browser that is not compatible with ProConnect. So in the event that you have an issue like that, you can either reach out to Tax Education Support, reach out to me, or you can simply just upgrade your web browser, right? So those are the solutions. So once you get your account set up, you're pretty much done with this document. Now you are in ProConnect. So it will say, welcome to ProConnect. In this case, it says R&M. It'll say your name, and here you see trial. All right. So here, if we look to the left, we have some things that says get started, right? So this is the welcome screen. Here we have some things. Next, try Intuit Link Client Portal. So this is basically a portal, a site where clients can upload and retrieve their documents. Here it says speed up tax work with additional perks. So again, this is a professional software, so it'll show you certain things that is used in the profession to streamline the process of preparing taxes. Here we have convert data. So let's say maybe last year a client used, or a tax professional rather, used Drake software or Lacert software or Pro Series. These are basically different types of softwares, and they decide that they want to, now use ProConnect. There's the option to convert all of the data from the prior software into ProConnect, but we don't need any of that. So where you're going to focus is tax returns. So here under tax, you have tax returns, tax plans. And we have clients. You're mainly going to focus on tax returns. So keep in mind the year needs to be 24. And then we have by return type. So we're working with individual clients. Therefore, we're going to be working on Form 1040. 1120 is when you get to federal business taxation. 1065 and 1120S, those you will see in federal business taxation, so tax two. So once you log in, obviously this is going to be blank for you. I've used the software before, hence why information is there. So we are going to create tax return, and we're going to select add new. So you might be saying, where do I get this information from? So you will see that it has Martin Doe simple tax return instructions, and it provides all of the information. So it states one of your tax clients, Jane Doe, recommended her cousin Martin Doe to your firm. Martin generally prepares his returns himself. However, this year he decided he would like to hire a trusted tax accountant. Since he trusts his cousin, he has hired you as his tax accountant for the year. His pertinent information is as follows. So client information, and the reason why I set it up as such is because once we get into ProConnect, this is essentially how ProConnect looks. So here's what we'll do. We'll put it side by side. All right. And I believe I already have a Martin Doe in the system, so I might change the name a little bit just so that way you guys can see what it looks like to set up a brand new client. All right. So we have all of the information here. The first name, Martin, last name, Doe, the date of birth, which is here, January 11th, 1970, the tax ID 103592009. We have the email address, and it says here martindoe@gmail.com. The phone number 718 718. Oops. All right, gotta love technology, huh? So we have 718-766-9211. Then we input the address. The address is here, 611 Main Street, and then it has like auto populate for the address. So we have 611 Main Street, New Rochelle. And we select yes, and it'll probably tell me, hey, someone already has the same EIN number, because again, I've already used the program. All right, so what I'll do, I'll just change this to 2008, so that way you guys can see what it's like to create a brand new return. Let's see. There we go. All right, perfect. So obviously you're going to make sure once you do your tax ID, it is going to show 2009. I just changed it because I already have utilized the software, but just keep that in mind. So here you're just going to double check to make sure all of the pertinent information is correct. First name, last name, date of birth, the last four of the tax ID. Again, the only reason it is different is because I want to show you guys what it's like to work with a brand new client. This client was already created in the software, hence I'm just diverting a little so you can see the email address, etc. And we are going to be working, it'll automatically be 1040 individual, tax year is 2024. Then it'll have Martin Doe, and you can input your last name, or your full name rather, Aaron Perry, and we select next. So we are creating our first tax return, or you will be creating your first tax return. So this is what it looks like. At the top, you'll see my company. You'll see the name of the file, Doe Martin dash your full name, Form 1040, which is the federal individual tax return. And the tax year is 2024. So here we have import data. We have some notes, some return actions. So again, this is a professional software. So you can select someone that's working on a return, and then you could also select the status. So not started, in progress, refer to notes. So this is a way to track the progress of returns, because it's so easy for things to fall through the crack, especially during busy season when there's lots of clients. So the first tab we see here is profile. Here we see federal. We're going to make sure that this is checked. We're going to be filing the federal return, Form 1040. Then we also have Form I-114 for taxpayer spouse. We're not worrying about any of those. So the main thing is that we need to see federal checked, and we need to see New York checked. All right. Extension, this would be in the event that Martin needed an additional 6 months for federal or for state, which is New York. None of these things apply. So as mentioned, the only thing you need checked is federal in New York. So we're good to go. So now we move on to the next tab, input return. So here in the input return screen, I'm going to make this a little bigger. Here we have these different sections. We have the general section, payments, penalties, and extensions, income, deductions, credit, taxes, other, state, and local. All right. So you're going to get started in the general section because you need to input the client's information. So here we see the client's information is as follows. So resident state as of 12/31 is New York. He was a full year resident. Filing status, Martin is unmarried and has no dependents. Therefore, his filing status is single. Martin E, first name and initial. We have the last name, which is Doe. We have the social security number. We also have the occupation, which is here, college advisor. We have the date of birth, date of death, obviously won't apply. He's still alive. Dependency status is 1, not applicable. He's not a dependent of anyone, not blind, so we leave that blank. The spouse's information, we leave blank. Why? He's not married, right? It says that. And another thing to keep in mind is that, let's say, we see here how this screen is small. What we can do is collapse that, or we can expand it, right? So once you expand it, it shows you exactly where you are within the program, and then you can collapse it to make it bigger. So here we have address, foreign address. Obviously, it's not foreign. So we have the street address. We input this on a main screen. So some of the information that we already input starts to populate. So we have the 611 Main Street, New Rochelle, New York, 10801. We have the telephone number. So this will be, mobile phone. So we change it based on the sheet. We already have the email address. Then we have the taxpayer authentication rather. So we have 3, remote valid government ID. The type of ID is a driver's license. 3, the state ID is 120-771-116. The driver's license state is New York. So the issue date, we have 4/16/2023, and the expiration date, we have 4/16/2033. And then, there's no additional information. There's no IRS theft protection pin. So this is in the event that maybe someone, filed a tax return fraudulently on their behalf in the past. In such case, they would need to get a identification pin. So generally, the taxpayer or the tax professional chooses a pin. But in such cases where there have been, something happening with the account, the IRS each year assigns a pin. And unless the taxpayer provides that pin, the tax return cannot be filed. But doesn't apply in this case. Spouse authentication, none of these applies. So we're pretty much good to go here. So with that being said, the next thing that we need to consider is the income, what's going on in Martin's situation. So it lets us know Martin is employed by Monroe College. He has a W-2 that shows salary for the year of. So we have a W-2, we have a 1099 INT. It says Martin earned interest income from JP Morgan. It also states Martin received dividend income from ABC Corporation during the year of $733. So as it relates to inputting the income information, we'll expand again, and we can collapse general because none of this, relates dependents. We're not inputting any of the direct deposit information, but in the event that he was getting a, refund, or we were actually filing this return, we would input the information. Direct deposit of federal refund, we would confirm that the bank account information was verified, and then we would essentially input the name of the bank, the routing number, as well as the account number. But again, as it relates for this return in particular, this is just getting your feet wet, ensuring that you understand how to prepare a tax return. So we close general. We don't need that. We don't need anything as it relates to payments, penalties, and extensions. In this case, he is just self-employed. He is just employed, rather. He is an employee. But when we deal with self-employed individuals, they might need to pay estimated taxes. But in this case, we don't need it. So we go to income. The W-2 information would be input here. So here we see box B, box C, which would show the name of the employer, the wages and things of that nature. So everything is lined up based on the box number. So we have box 1, which shows the wages, box 2, which shows federal income tax withheld, box 3, social security wages, etc. So you basically follow through with the W-2 and you mimic everything that is on the W-2 essentially is going to be reported here. And then 15 starts to show the state information. As it relates to the 1099 INT under the interest income, this is where it would be input. So once that opens up, here we have the name of the payer, which is the name of the institution. It will be one for spouse. Then we have the bank's savings and loans. So this is essentially where you would input the amount of the interest that was received. And then for our 1099 DIV, our dividend income, that is essentially where we would input that information. So again, this is fairly a straightforward example, not too difficult, but again, this is just for you to be able to get some practical experience with how, the various forms that you're learning about, how they are input into a professional software, and also just getting a better understanding of, what impact, how all of this essentially comes together. So we just walked through essentially where everything would be input, and now I'll actually show you what this looks like. All right, so here we have the W-2. I'm going to pull it up so that way you can see, and then we can walk through it. Pulling it up. So I'll actually close this. All right, so this is what the W-2 looks like. And what I'll do is just make this a little smaller. All right, so here we have our W-2. All right, so here we have the employer identification number, which is box B. So we input the same thing, 132501225. Then here, this is asking you to bring in information. No, we want to enter it manually. So we just, leave that alone. We're going to enter it manually. So we just scroll down. It's going to ask for the employer street address, all of that information, which is here, 434 Main Street. We're going to input the city, the state, and the zip code. And then from there, this is where we start to input the information. So for wages, we have $44,134.11. So here you see, wait, hold on. Why are the 11 cents not there? So what happens is most tax softwares, they will round up or round down depending on the number. And we see that once we input box 1, boxes 3, 4, 5, and 6 automatically populate. But as we know, sometimes there might be deferral of income. So, and we see box 3 is not $44,134.11. So therefore, you need to make sure that the information is input correctly. So we see box 2 is $6,754.99. So that rounds up. And then again, box 3 is not the same. So $46,382.05. And then we see that it automatically updates for boxes 4, 5, and 6. So we scroll down and we see that in box 12A, there are amounts. So this explains the difference. So the first code is AA. There were designated contributions to a Roth IRA in the amount of $66.49. And then if we scroll back over, we see that there was box D. So what that basically means is we'll see now, box D, there was elective deferrals to a 401k plan in the amount of $2,227, $2,247.94. So this essentially explains the difference between box 1 and box 2. So I'll get my calculator ready. So box 3 shows $46,382 minus box 1, the taxable wages of $44,134. So as we see here, box 12B, the elective deferrals, the individual, instead of receiving this $2,248 in wages, they decided to put it into their IRA. their 401k, which is a representation of deferred income. So it's not taxable now, but when they take it out in the future, when Martin takes it out in the future, then it is going to be subjected to taxes. So that explains, for the most part, generally why there are differences between boxes 1, 3, and 5. So you do the same thing. All of the other boxes with information you input. So you would input in box 15 through 20 all of the information for the state wages, state income tax, local wages, local income tax, etc. So now the next thing we move on to is the 1099 DIV. So the 1099 DIV, these are for dividends that were issued from ABC Corporation. And here we see, we go back to the income section. And then again, we already input the W-2, so we're good to go. Now we go to the dividend section. And then here we have the name of the payer. So the name of the payer, as we see here, is ABC Corporation. So we type that in, ABC Corporation. And then here we see this is for the taxpayer. Then it asks us, what is the total ordinary dividends? So based on the 1099 DIV, the ordinary dividends is $733. And for our qualified dividends, we see here it is $733. So as we know, ordinary dividends will be taxed at ordinary tax rates, and qualified dividends are a subset of ordinary dividends that are taxed at a preferential rate. So all $733 of the dividends are going to be taxed at either 0%, 15%, or 20% based on Martin's situation. So we finished with the 1099 DIV, and the last step now is to input the 1099 INT information. No other boxes were completed on the 1099 DIV, but again, depending on the client, sometimes, a lot of the boxes can be completed. So here we get to the 1099 INT. We have JP Morgan Chase. So you input the name of the payer. And again, this is for the taxpayer. And then here it says banks, savings and loans, etc. So who paid interest? In this case, JP Morgan did, which is the bank, $428. You input that, and then you're pretty much good to go. All right. So all of the tax documents were input. Again, that's under the income section. We have wages, interest income, and dividend income. So once we finish inputting all of the information in the input return section, check return, this is generally what you would use in the profession before a return can be electronically filed. There are some things that need to be completed. We have some fatal diagnostics. These are things that, ultimately need to be fixed. So as you see here, fatal diagnostics, they'll trigger an agency rejection upon filing. They cannot be ignored. E-file, same thing. With these e-file critical diagnostics, they'll prevent you from e-filing the return until it is resolved. So fatal diagnostics and critical diagnostics are important. Here we have some critical diagnostics. They run the risk of an agency response, so it might or might not happen, and they won't impact your ability to file. Then they also have some suggestions, right? Suggestions are informational items that require review. So whenever a return is filed, you want to make sure that you check these things. It doesn't apply in this case. I mean, if you want to play around and see if things can be done like this one, the electronic filer identification number, you can't be fixed because you would need to have a P10. And there are certain requirements to actually get an EFIN number. So that's basically the IRS granting you authority to electronically file a return. So everyone is going to see this check return. You cannot fix it. E-file critical, the paid preparer Social Security or tax. So again, some information can be changed, some can't, but you are not filing the return. So you can absolutely feel free to skip the check return section. The file return section, however, this is where you are going to need to go to preview the return, to print the return. So here in this case, if you want to create a PDF, so you select create the PDF, and then from there you'll be able to download a copy of both the federal as well as the tax return. So you download the return, and then here we see we have the federal income, and then here we also have all of the information that's needed, pretty much. Tax summary, we have federal income tax summary, New York income tax summary, pretty much. So now, as we're in the input return, let's just say that you are not at the step yet where you want to print the return. What you can do throughout the process is review the return, and then it basically shows you a preview of the return. So as you click that, you have the US and you have New York. So US is federal Internal Revenue Service. New York is the state. So when you go to the US, it'll show you the letter, which basically says, hey, Martin, we prepared your tax return. It's going to be electronically filed, and you would receive a refund of ... Then we have all of the other general information over here. So again, these are just some key things to keep in mind as you want to work through the return. If you want to see any changes, select Review Return. And when it is time to print the return, you will go to File Return, Print to PDF, and create the PDF. All right, so I hope that this video helps. And again, the key thing I want you to walk away with is this is not just another assignment. This is opportunity giving you exposure and allowing you to practically apply the tax concepts you've been learning throughout the semester. So have fun. I trust that this will be a great experience. And again, this is a valuable skill set for those of you that want to specialize in taxation.